all teams in the top 4, but double the money to make it into the grand final.
Double money, double honor. Moist against WYLDE. There's certainly amount of pride on the line on this one as well. Their first ever competitive encounter. Who is going to walk away with the spoils? Moist in the blue. And their opponents in the orange. Their opponents in the orange scoring within 2 seconds. How about that?
Moist in the blue, their opponents in the orange, and the ball in the back of the net. Straight off the kickoff, Chippy will get the first. And I mean, what do we say about that? It's just a straight up kickoff goal. There's not much to say. 2 seconds in and already a goal found for WYLDE.
As I say, sometimes you get the rub of the green, sometimes you do not. WYLDE appear to have found plenty of their lucky clovers. Of course, the Irish-based organisation looking for a second already. And the Moist Esports defense rattling a high press here coming out from their opponents, and their opponents putting up a somewhat half-hearted defense here as Moist Esports finally setting up a bit of sustained pressure. Infield pass going to be battered away by Chippy.
Just say it's going to be the man to catch it. Sending it off to the backboard now where Joyo will wait. Cannot get involved in a demo on Cash. Joyo though, off to the side. Great control of the ball and a pass bound to Juicy. The shot not going to find the back of the net. Instead Tempo going to get the clearance on out. Closer from Moist, but not going to be enough. WYLDE have the advantage on their side of there's not really any expectations for them. They weren't really expected to make top 4. They're not expected to make top 2. They can play with a lack of pressure on them because they've already done way above what they were supposed to.
Yeah, 100%. And that lack of pressure most certainly will be a boon in certain aspects. It'll also play on their minds, though, if we start to see Moist starting to get back into this, which they certainly are in terms of their synergy, in terms of their passing plays. Juicy with the infield pass. It's going to be registered as a shot, not really, though. It's off the woodwork. And the longer that Moist start to continue to build up these plays and continue to rattle the woodwork, the more concerned I'm going to be for their long-term prospects here.
Joyo unable to make that touch. Here comes Billy. Off to the backboard. Chippy. Shot taken high to no success. Joyo. Free reign on that ball. He's got Cash down to his side, but it's Tempo the one to shut down the play. Chippy going to rush in for this attack here. Cannot find the touch, though. A missed opportunity means that Billy left alone in the back line. Lucky for him, Juicy does not find his touch. But trying to get that clearance away, denied by Joyo. The attack persists from Moist, but they're just not getting that finishing touch.
Juicy with the pop-up and the 100 steal over Tempo, who's left wanting on both counts. Chippy at least intercepts this infield pass. Cash goes sideways. Misses out on that second touch. Tempo misses the clearers. Thankfully for him, Billy's there to clean up the mess. Chippy, oh, we're so close to some excellent passing plays. It's a dunk attempt that's thrown away into the midfield. Tempo now with some boost. Billy with a demo. Doesn't matter. Tempo doesn't need him. The dunk, the 2-0, just on the stroke of half-time.
Wow, that worked out as a goal with Tempo. The ball rolls over Cash, slots into the back of the net. Half the game gone on by. And wow, 2-0. Save for WYLDE.
3 miles with 3. Tempo! Oh, Joyo playing with fire there. Went for a little short tap to the side rather than a hard clearance. That's certainly what they were hoping for there. WYLDE would have been an easy 3. Double demo, though, going to relieve the pressure. Cash out from the back. Moist with work to do here in game number 1. The handoff to Joyo. Loves the backboard reads and does get the dunk, but doesn't have any players in support. Juicy with the interception midfield. Cash is coming from a long way back, completely whiffs it. Joyo, the pass a little too short. Cash manages to find some connection, though, and Juicy close to finding a goal of his own.
Moist haven't been doing incredibly well recently with this Cash addition to the roster. Both getting top 6 in Regional 1, top 4 in that second regional. But here against WYLDE in game number 1, they're not playing up to their usual standard and they might just be 3-0 down. Tempo will miss out when he's chances the ball does travel wide. A follow up from Cash can turn the pressure around the other way. With 90 seconds left to go, James, there is little time left for Moist to start this comeback.
Chippy backboard, and they're looking more likely to score a third than Moist are there first. Still the lion's share of 90 seconds left on the clock, of course, so time is still a commodity that they can afford. Oh my goodness, big save from Cash at the back. Joyo's got to be quick on this counter-attack, but look how defensively set WYLDE are. They've got 2 players back in their own half, ready to cover up any escape. They're going to sit on this 2-0 lead, Boyo.
Off to the side, Belly will try and centre that ball. Joyo and Cash going hand in hand, pushing it upfield. Cash into centre, looking for a 50 to dunk it on down. Off to the side, it's Juicy. He finds Joyo into centre, but no success just yet. Belly to rip it round the corner, but Joyo's quick once more. 40 seconds now. A goal realistically has to be scored in this next attack for Moist, or else this game is out of their hands. Joyo might be the man to do it. Off the ceiling into centre, the pass to Cash will be connected upon, but the shot goes wide and the ball cleared away. Wild live another day.
Yeah, they might be playing proverbial couch potato, but they're certainly cooking the Wild. And to be frank, Moist haven't. They have had a couple of great opportunities, especially in the last couple of minutes or so, to at least put one away and change the complexion of this opening encounter between the two, and yet they haven't. They haven't found their shooting boots. They haven't had the accuracy, the famed shooting percentage, the clutchness that Moist are well known for, and that's what sees them go 1-0 down early on in this semi-final series.
A very good start there from Wild. 2 assists, of course, for Billy, and a big part of why they won that game. The passes were sublime, the plays were being made perfectly, and of course, very costly for Moist. That one kickoff goal, which should never have been a goal. It's just a simple mistake on the kickoff that lets it slip on by. They get punished greatly because of it.
I think we can draw very big similarities to the early Lunar Galaxy performance, Joyo, I should say, especially from someone like Joyo, where this is someone who every single time he steps onto the field, you expect something magical to happen. If there is ever a hard carry in EU Rocket League, it's got to be Joyo Kami. So quiet, only 2 shots on target, only 5 shots on target for the entire team. Wild more than doubling it, and they looked good for their money as well, even despite not having Cash on their team.
Yeah, 100%. Well, they get in for game number 2. You see a lot more work through from Moist. They're a team of champions, quite simply. I mean, Joyo quite literally is a champion with that Spring Major Champion title on right now. Cash, of course, Fall Major contender as well. This is a team with so much capability behind them. They should be winning this, but struggling at the moment.
It shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I think Moist will be hoping that they don't get to the woulda part of that particular cliche statement. They need to show us something different on Forbidden Temple. That much is very evident to anybody who has watched that last 5 minutes. For Wild, more of the same. They won't have the luxury of an opening goal in the first couple of seconds, and maybe that is just the sort of relief, the sort of foundation that Moist will need here, especially if they could get an early one of their own. Just 13 seconds, unlucky for some.
Very, very fortunate for Moist though. Off to the back wall is Joyo, passing it off to Juicy, and it's an easy goal to be finished off. Once again though, James, an early goal. It was 2 seconds last game, 13 seconds this time. These teams love scoring the early seconds of a game.
It's going to be a real test now for Wild. The first time that they've been behind in the series, it's an early goal to concede. Will this be the confidence boost that Moist require to really go on a strong run? It's Chippy from the backboard. And the pass off to Tempo is good, but it's a throw downfield. The possession given up immediately, and Cash is going to be quite happy to hold on to that possession for the time being. Joyo misses that second touch. Tempo moves forward, looking for a way through, gets the flick over one, looking for the bump on Cash, and Chippy a little too late to the scene to tap it in.
To the corner. Here's Joyo. Trying to hold that ball down, but Tempo powers on through him. Off the corner into centre now, Cash. A touch on out to the side, Chippy trying to make a save, but to no success. It's Tempo instead to get the clearance on out. Juicy will hold the ball in the midfield, but denied once more, and flying off the ceiling as Tempo almost gets another connection upon it. Chippy doing everything that he can with so little in the tank, but will actually fight on through. They belly in a good position, but nothing will come from it.
Little in the tank and little in the way of creative ideas when they go into the opposition half. It's all Moist for this opening couple of minutes or so. Starting to flex, starting to spread their wings, so to speak. Joyo looking for a second, got the fake. Juicy a little too late again. Minor misses, minor miscommunications, denying both Wild and Moist in front of net, but crucially Boyo, Moist still have that lead, they can afford them.
Yeah, 100%, they got that early goal and it paid off extremely well. A good save by Tempo there on the line, will barely claw that ball out from the depths of the back of the net. Big demo from Juicy, and Joyo leaves very awkward for WYLDE. 2 players dead. They of course finally have respawned, but here's Chippy down to the other end off the backboard. He had no boost to make the follow-up. Almost gets the read, almost gets the dunk. But instead Tempo a soft touch on out, no teammates to pass to. And an awkward possession and a possession lost. Means that once again, on the attack in Moist, and they are looking dangerous, but they're not going to find goal number 2.
Yeah, they've got to pick up the phone at some point, WYLDE, because it's not just getting to a point of slight miscommunications. We're getting to a point of not talking. Tempo there with a case in point, a light touch when really just work the keeper, get a shot away. That's what the setup was for. You're not setting up upon a setup, and right down the other end, we've got a demo, at least on Joy Okami, which limits the offensive capabilities of Moist, but with 2 minutes left, once again, we're asking who's the more likely to score next. It is Moist. Will it come through Cash? Gets it to the backboard. Here's Juicy! Oh, big save! Joyo to the backboard. A little too tight an angle. Tempo gets there first anyway.
So close, but a second goal will not be found. Down to the other end, though. Cash almost sending it into his own net. Off the backboard, will make the save. While WYLDE struggle to try and find goal number 2. Goal number 1, sorry. It is Moist on their way to find their second of the game, but it is being denied once more. It might come down simply to an early mistake being made because no team can seem to make it through these defenses.
Once again, that was another wide open opportunity. You've got to have faith in your teammate, Tempo. Otherwise, you're not going to find that box in the box approach. He gives it up to Joyo right in front of net. He registers a save. Not that there was much of one to make. Chippy to Cash. Brings it to the midfield. Bumps Tempo out the way, but Billy steps in. Got that backboard touch. Got a demo via Chippy. And Tempo again too slow. The counter-attack is on. Moist looking for their second. Moist got the second. No! It was going wide anyway, but the save is made just to be sure.
Just in time, a save is made, but Chippy with a must-save flick will tie up the game. 1 apiece, a minute to go. It takes 4 minutes, but they finally get a goal.
I stopped commentating because I'm assuming that Joyo's going to move forward and intercept that. He has to. He's the last man. Otherwise, you're giving a very mechanically gifted player the realm to attempt to try and score a goal, which he does. That is the first mistake from Moist, truly, that we have seen on the defensive side of things. And now all of those chances that have gone a begging, they are going to be it's a remorseful feeling now as Cash goes for a drop down. Oh, Moist, how are your nerves? Because WYLDE is roaring back into life.
It looks back, ready for the pass upfield. Chippy tries to get in on it, but Juicy is faster. It's going into centre. It's up to Joy for the clearance out. Tempo. Very well positioned there. He goes back right in time, gets into net, makes the save. But now the ball in no man's land. Great control for Cash here. He takes it into his possession, but a lack of boost means a missed opportunity. Billy, when it's stall out, just hold it for overtime is what WYLDE are saying here because they don't have time to really develop another attack. It's hold, and hold some more, but here comes Cash once again. A flip reset in the back seat, a attempt towards net, but it will not find it. Overtime is where we end up.
Both teams getting very, very nervy. They're second-guessing themselves at every which way and turn, and that's always going to promote an overly offensive change-up in play. So this might be a very quick overtime indeed, especially if they get a demo through. It's back on target again. Juicy has the 180, scoops it out off the line. Chippy intercepted by Cash is up in the air. Joyo gets a piece of it, and he's going to keep the ball for the moment. He's got no one to feed it to. Tempo with a challenge. Juicy forced back onto his own backboard, in fact, and Tempo with a demo on Joyo. WYLDE going for the throats.
Center now. Cash able to make that catch, going for the 50, gets it out to the midfield, rising high. It's Billy. He's quick into action. Tempo onto net, it'll barely be wide. The return on it to the corner, and Chippy is there waiting in centre, ready to receive the pass, but a pass is not needed when Tempo is on the ball. A 2-1 win for WYLDE out of absolutely nowhere.
He's been walking at half pace for the entire game, but when his team needed his most, Tempo set it. That is huge for WYLDE, who go 2-0 up in the series.
2-0. What a goal from Tempo. WYLDE, as you mentioned, extend their series lead 2-0, and they're looking incredibly good at the moment.
You know what's even scarier though, Boyo, is the shot counters are almost, identical to last time out. Cash with 0 shots on target, Moist making up 5 across the team. Wild only 1 shot shy of their game 1 performance. This isn't just an anomaly. This isn't just an oddity. Wild is putting in consistently better performances in the part of the pitch which matters most ultimately when you want to win a game of Rocket League, the final third. Moist, look, we said it. They had their chances in that game to go 2-0 up, to potentially go 3-0 up. Didn't take them. This is the result. This is what they're asking for.
Well, Moist. As we head to game number 3, you've got some work to be doing because it is not a good look for you at the moment. Wild taking this game, taking this series in stride, not a worry back of their minds, but game number 3, it could all turn around. As Moist have got to pick it up. They have got to start finding some real mechanical plays. It's what they're so good at, but they're not pushing through with these mechanics, with these kind of punishment plays that they can do so well. It's been a very basic game for them.
Oh, Tempo.
And Wild are not letting it phase them. Tempo because of goal kickoff. What on earth is going on?
You never like to single out any one player, and I really do not think that's the case for Moist. I think it's been a very tepid performance from all 3, but to have Cash, one of your most explosive players, on 0 shots for the entire series is worrying. And I mean, it's going to be another goal within the opening 30 seconds. Wilds have claimed it. It all comes off the back of a demo further upfield. Billy just avoids the player on the sidewall. Joyo spawns back in far too late. Wild playing with ease.
It was Cash and Juicy as well before Joyo gets demo, but Cash and Juicy, I think one of them was at the corner boost and one of them was just past the midway line into the, half of Wild. No one was in any kind of position to help out Joyo there. Even in the best case scenario for Joyo, he is alone in a 1 versus 3. There's nothing good about that situation, let alone of course the demo ended up coming through anyway. Now a 1-0 scoreline for Wild, and once again Wild start off in the back foot in a position where they should not be losing here.
Breaking news in the Rocket Baguette newsroom. Cash Kami has just had his first shot on target. In fact, he's had 2. Completely missed the first one. That's good news for him. Bad news, it hasn't made a jot of difference, and that's a huge miss as well. It means that Joyo is less compromised. Tempo playing with his food. Juicy, that's not a strong clearance, and it leads straight to a shot from Billy. Tempo, oh, that was a final shot there from Chippy, denied by Joyo. Looking at 6 and 7s here for Moist Esports, all over the place, maybe here, a goal to break the Malays. It's Juicy, it's 1-1.
This is what we've been asking for. Pure mechanical outplaying. Juicy off the backboard for the pass from Joyo. It is an incredible goal to bring Moist back into it. 1 apiece at 90 seconds gone by. It's back to even. This is perfect for Moist.
Not quite as perfect as they would like, though. Boyo, they want that go-ahead goal, and they want it sooner rather than later, but a power play here from Billy. The demo on 2, but unable to make good of it are Wild. Silky from Cash. Moves forward, loses the ball. Joyo's there, in the shadows, waiting. Chippy challenges, that's going to head to the backboard. Tempo. Nice clearance over the halfway line. Chippy to chase, even without boost, manages to get a piece of it. Billy, up. Oh, it's saucy. Requires a real acrobatic save from Juicy. How about Tempo? Underneath one. Where has this come from? From Wild, they look like a completely different team to what we've seen previously.
They are looking incredible at the moment, and as you mentioned, so much different from what we've seen before. So aggressive as well, and it is paying off dividends because Uncle Bill. Wow, Billy, bro, every other name he's had under the sun. I'm not going to name them all, but my oh my, what a receive and what a shot. 2-1.
He's everybody's favourite, isn't he? He's the uncle who slips you a tenner knowing that you're going to buy some sweeties down at the store, and my goodness, does this feel sweet for all the Wild fans out there. 2-1, they re-establish the lead. Got to hold on to it, mind you, and Tempo does just that with some excellent defending into the corner. Away it goes, the transitional plays. And most importantly, the calls. Remember that we were criticising a little bit the lack of communication from Wild midway through game number 2. Well, they've got that second win, Boyo, and my goodness, does it look like they're starting to talk a lot more.
That ball upfield is Billy. A great 50-50. and Chippy might find goal number 3. Wild right now, straight up, are just the better team. And that is so shocking for me to have to say that when Moist are on the pitch. But at the moment, Wild are better. Simple as that. Everything that they're doing as a team is better than Moist. Moist, I think, still, as individual players, have more skill, but they are not utilising it correctly. And it is costing them this series.
Chippy at the midfield line got a very fortuitous 100 pickup there, and Juicy finds the player, but not the ball. Is Joyo. And Wild quite happy to just receive it. There's not much threat otherwise, and they can almost act like a sponge. How about this from Chippy though? He's going to go for a 1v1 into a 1v1. Here's Tempo. Oh, it's slow. It's not going to beat out Cash Kami, who's up to save it away. Less than 90 seconds now, and Moist have got to find something else. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing them lose 3 times in a row. Almost unthinkable at the start of this series.
Here goes Chippy. Big demo on the way is Tempo now as well. Saved by Joyo just in time, but as Cash gets it out to the side, he'll be rushing fast for a second attempt towards net. But Chippy denies, Juicy sends it high. One more chance, but denied, and denied some more. And instead, down the other end is goal number 3. Uncle Bill had a hat-trick.
It's a solid yikes, folks. It's a great challenge, but I mean, it's even a double commit. Moist's rotation is all over the place, nigh on non-existent. If Danny Boy was in the booth with us, he'd be saying diabolical, because quite frankly, boyo, it is.
It is diabolical to the highest degree. The pass in the centre, a big mistake, and Joyo will capitalise. But even there, you say finally. That's not a goal off of Moist's merit. It's a goal off of pure error from Wild, and Moist cannot rely on it. We've seen it earlier in the Quadrant series. Our first match of the day, all goals that were found for Lunar Galaxy were all based on mistakes made from Quadrant, and it's seeming to happen again. That is an incredible save from Cash. It should not have ever been that close. But with 40 seconds left, Wild trying to hold on for dear life to head to match point.
No, I'm truly with you, dude. I say finally, because like, oh, finally they've got another goal, a goal which they absolutely should be scoring in this series. To see them in a scenario where they are almost 3-0 down and actually against a match point scenario is quite extraordinary. And Wild, the nerves have started to come out a little bit here. 2 double commits, obviously the mistake earlier, but Moist are making more mistakes than their opponents. And in a game and a series of wavering quality, let's say, you don't want to be the team that makes the more mistakes. It's simple maths, it's simple logic. Moist will have one more shot here. The pass off to Cash, and they're going to utilise it. Buzzer beater, we go to OT.
They are not going to let this game phase them. Juicy, that's an incredible pass off to Cash. Joyo causes so much damage there. Uncle Billy has been abused in the net, and it has worked out so favourably for Moist. They have sent it to overtime, but it's not over yet. They've still not won the game.
Uh-oh. Do you hear that, folks? It's the poncho! It's thrown onto Joyo Kami like a cape! He soars in, and he's stolen away! A crucial point here for Moist Esports!
You see him up in the air, and you just know it's going to be a goal. Moist clutch it up on the 0-second goal, bring it to overtime, and then win it in the first 10 seconds. They take game 3 and crush the Spirits of Wild.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You have just poked the hornet's nest, and they have finally turned up to play, boyo. But I've got to say, Moist should never have been in that situation. We talked about how they really should have been ahead in game number 2. They didn't deserve to be ahead in game number 3. Passive, lacking quality in all facets of their play, and yet they, and more specifically Joyo, just did what they, and more specifically Joyo, do best. They clutched up, and that is such an important point at a time of the series where Wild was on the precipice of hitting that match point scenario.
Well, it was clutch plays from Moist to save them in this series. Wild not a match point just yet, but another game, then they could just be in that position. Moist, though, taking that comeback, could be bringing it to a 2-2 if this game goes favourably for them.
Will it go favourably for them, though? Because that was a daylight robbery from WYLDE Esports. WYLDE are going to be feeling pretty peeved, to say the least. The fact that they threw that one away to lose the first goal, to then have a buzzer beater and then an overtime winner go against them, that's got to hurt the morale. But look, if you're any team coach or team captain, you're saying to your squad mates, look, make that angry, focus that into a good performance. We can still go on to win this series. We've got to refocus, we've got to find our mojo, and it's Tempo. He is him.
He is him, and at this stage it's not any kind of a fluke from WYLDE. It is pure high quality gameplay, and they are making Moist work for it. This isn't down to Moist, you know, playing bad a lot of the time. It's just down to WYLDE playing good, and Moist aren't ready for it.
Quite frankly, if you're not ready for this series at this point, you got to be pretty cold. You got to still be defrosting, and one will wonder whether you will ever be ready. Will Juicy be ready for this? Oh, you bet he is. That's class.
Pure class. Top corner. Billy passes to Juicy, but I mean, I can't really blame Billy for that. That first touch from Juicy, so much power. A bang into the back of the net, one apiece instantly for Moist.
It's the accuracy as well. Top pocket could not have sunk that much better had he tried. And what about Cash Kami? Oh, it's on target. Oh, and the ball evades the clutches of Joyo. Very unfortunate there for Moist Esports, who are really starting to look a lot more like their former selves, like their present selves, we should say. It's not like this team has just disappeared overnight. They've got so much quality. They've just failed to use it. The runaway ball not going to threaten that net. Cash is back in town. He's going to make the save. He's going to lose out on the 100 boost, however. He's marooned in that weird place between backboard and corner, but he's got Juicy for backup, throws it into the midfield. However, WYLDE on the counter-attack. WYLDE with a shot on target. A complete misread, and Tempo's got a second.
A second goal for Tempo, and Moist caught out of position. As Joyo turns the wrong way, gets punished for it, and another goal found for WYLDE. You'd be kind of stupid to think at this stage that this is not intense and hard work for Moist. They're trying as hard as they can, but at this moment, WYLDE are playing an incredibly good game of Rocket League. And although Moist may be trying their absolute hardest, it's a difficult task. A big mistake, but Billy's absolutely ruined it.
Oh, Billy was reaching. He was reaching. It looked an easier shot to hit than it actually was in reality. Still, you'd certainly hope that Billy would be able to put that one on target. And now, oh dear, that is a bite in a place which you don't want to be bitten. Joyo Kami to tie things up again.
So unlucky there for WYLDE to have a miss like that and then get punished down the other end so quickly. 2 apiece, 90 seconds gone by. WYLDE could be 3-1 up, but instead it's 2 apiece.
Just makes things far more interesting for us, and most certainly the audience. We see you all out there. Hope you're having a great time and a wonderful weekend. Certainly, if you are new here, be sure to follow the Rocket RB. Plenty of action besides Rising Stars Odyssey. Next week, of course, we have the SAM Invitational coming your way to your screens with English commentary from a wonderful crew. Hopefully, it's going to be as enthralling and exciting as this particular series. As WYLDE on the counter-attack. It's a lovely handoff actually to Tempo. A complete miss on the back of Tempo. My goodness, he is popping off, but still unable to find that daylight between the two teams. In fact, it's Moist going down the other end. The bump on Billy. Oh, he scoops it out from his line. Here's Joyo with a second touch. Great read from Billy off the backboard. The siege continues. It's Cash. He goes for the far post. He hits the woodwork.
Wow.
Away it goes. Sweat off the brow.
Somehow they make it out alive. Round to the corner it'll go now. Chippy able to make that connection. Cash puts this ball upfield. An unfortunate turn of events means that for Moist it remains 2 apiece, but Billy off to the ceiling now will not be able to make it 3-2 just yet. Cash, and I get this ball past Chippy, looking for a 50, and like a bulldozer, takes his opponent out of the way and slots it to the back of the net.
Speaking of sweat off the brow, this is going to feel really good for Cash, who completely breaks the legs of Chippy, going straight underneath him, / straight through him. And as the last line of defense, that could not have come at a worse time for WYLDE, as they have now lost that lead It's a lead that they will be quite eager to get back, but not with slow, pondering infield passes like that. Moist going to be eating up, and what have I just watched?
What on earth? What on earth was that from Cash? That touch is incredible. Moist, who goes up now? 4-2. They're here to play.
I feel like I've had an existential crisis watching that. Incredible. My goodness. And all of a sudden, Wild's task just gets a little bit taller. Not just one goal, you got to find two, and that's only good enough to take you into overtime. Oh, I did warn them. I did say you've got to rattle the Hornet's nest, and a demo in the midfield is not going to make life much easier. Juicy towards the backboard. Joyo looking for the read. Tempo. Juicy to the backboard again. Wins the challenge over Billy. Joyo's trying to receive it, and he does receive it, but not very well. It's a very poor touch, in fact. Tempo going to lose out to Cash, though, who's come alive in the last 30 seconds or so.
Upfield over to Tempo. Denied well by Joyo, and Juicy will catch it into centre. The pass off to Cash works tremendously well. To Juicy now to receive. What on earth? That was beautiful from every player on the pitch. It was Cash. That pass, that touch to Juicy. Incredible.
Oh, it had all the finesse of a pro bowler. And that's the strike. That is number 5. Cash with 3 goal involvements in the last minute and a half. And you get the impression he might be due for more. Oh, almost on the end of this one. Wild, from going like a team that was quite frankly never going to lose this series, have all of a sudden, Boyo, turned into a team that are on a crash course with loss is the only thing on their minds. Tempo, trying to get it in at the near post here. You just get the impression that after this one, it's got to be reset and regain, go again.
Reset, regain, go again is the only way to do it. A tie series will be 2 apiece as this game comes to a conclusion. But Moist are looking on fire. It's not even that they're playing better now. They are playing an incredible game of Rocket League, individually and as a team, to a degree we have not seen all series long from them.
Yeah, I mean,
what is that pass?
I mean, look. I get what you're saying in that Moist haven't been playing badly per se. They are going to concede here at the very end. It is the very definition of a garbage time goal. Meaningless, pointless, maybe apart from a slight morale boost for their opponents. But the quality of Cash has turned the tide, Boyo. There is nothing on paper nor on your screens that can deny that particular bit of analysis and breakdown. Moist Esports breaking out of their shells with a 14-shot performance. To be fair, Wild scoring 3 goals from 5 shows exactly how clinical they still are. It's a tie series though, Boyo, and you would certainly favour Moist from here on out.
To a pace, and I can only agree with you. We went from the first 2 games, Cash having 0 shots. Game number 4, he pulls out 7. I mean, I think you can just see the change of both attitude and ability of play here. It's so improved.
Yeah, and there's not really too much more that you can add on to that. We're finally at a point, I think, where both teams are playing to what would be their expected respective levels. Wild is a good team. They are a very good team on their day. Moist Esports is regional top 4, top 8 caliber, depending on the perspective that you want to share on that on any particular occasion. And really, it was Cash there, the difference maker, with 7 shots, with 3 goal participations at a crucial time in the game. Let us not forget to pop off midway through a series. If you want to look at the various statistics, is the best time to pop off, because it means that you're starting to throw a bit of momentum your way at a point where you're within eye shot of that all-important match point scenario.
Well, a 2-2 series. This next game's so important for whatever team can win it. Sends them to match point, sends them in prime position to move on to the grand finals. But James, the game's got to start first.
It does, and it will. Now, eventually. Here we go. Another 5 minutes on the clock. To the oasis of Deadeye Canyon we go. An early demo to get things started for Moist Esports. Joyo looking for Cash. Easy
Wow. Wow, oh wow. It is so quick how this team has turned around. The Joyo pass to Cash is just perfect. And the shot onto net looks sublime. 1-0 for Moist. 7 seconds in.
Oh, I certainly hope that Wild haven't just downed tools or anything, because otherwise we are in for a rather disappointing conclusion to a series that promised so much, actually. Still, the lion's share of the game left. We have to hope that there is a little bit more within this trio to suggest that this might go to Game 7. At the very least, will be competitive until game number 6. It is still a tie series after all, boyo. There is nothing to say that a bit of risk-taking won't find you benefits.
Big bump. Here comes Cash. Rolling it on round that back wall. No passes to be made. Tempo. Big bump on Juicy. Chippy will receive. Past 1, but not past 2 just yet. Into centre for Billy.
Oh.
She waits on the backboard. All 3 players from Wild circling around that ball like sharks, but none will actually strike. There's no blood in the water just yet. Only the tears that have been cried from all the Wild fans when Moist have stepped up.
To be fair, there have been plenty of tears from the Moist side as well.
Yeah.
the copium has been well and truly out in force for both sides, it is fair to say. But you can't be high on copium. In fact, oh my goodness me, you've got to be high on vibes and value and quality plays in order to find yourself back in the driving seat of a series. And despite a demo, it was something of a shot across the bow for Moist Esports, a demonstration. And another one here that Wild are certainly happy to switch up the playstyle. Tempo, the runaway from Billy. Oh, what a huge save from Joyo, comes in clutch again.
Wild committing mass murder, but it will not pay off. Down the other end, it is Cash with a wide open net. And ever since we've talked about him not getting, you know, too much done on offense, he has really shut us up.
He has, which honestly, I'm delighted. We always talk about Cash as a player that never really truly fulfilled the potential that we saw from him in Rival Series all those years ago. But truth be told, he's always been a great player. He's just needed to find the right teams, and I think he has settled into a really nice niche of a player who can every once in a while challenge for a regional, and certainly he's got a great team around him to do that more often than not nowadays. What about Billy, though? He's going to bring this out to the midfield line, bump Cash out the way. Look at this, a wonderful readjustment midair from Cash. And I think really the issue now for Wild, boyo, is they're a little too slow on these follow-up plays. Moist always seemingly 2 steps ahead of them. But despite being 2 steps ahead of them, Tempo reaches out, grabs their legs from underneath them. It's a lovely pass off from Billy, and finally, they've gotten a goal on the board here in game number 4. Or game number 5, I should say.
2 steps ahead, but the Raspberry closes, diving off that crossbar, nowhere near getting that touch there for Juicy. Nevertheless, so the lead still stays intact for Moist, 2-1. But how long will that last? Because while we're getting on an attack straight off kickoff could be dangerous. A bad touch from Billy, but a big miss from Cash. Joy will have to do everything that he can to make that save in time. Stretch far, but Chippy comes in, does some punishing, and we're even.
Relic asketh, and Relic receiveth. I mean, honestly, I was going to go and have a little rant about, oh, you know, yes, you know, you got a miss from Cash. Surely that's the opportune time to pounce and to have a shot on net. But they actually were setting up in a much better position to get a much more quality and I guess higher percentile shot of getting it on target in the first place and scoring it in the second place. They do score it. It's 2-2. And Wild have worked so hard to get back into this game. To be fair, it's been Moist giving them the opportunities to find a way back in, but at the very least, boyo, they can start from square one.
Cash should make this back in time. Yeah, he will get the save. But the ball goes high. It's in a very precarious position. Save by Joyle. We're not getting out of harm's way just yet. Chippy is bumping everyone he can in net at the moment. It will not pay off well because Joyle down the other end is so mechanical that from anywhere he is in the pitch, it could just be a goal. Billy going to rush in for that one now, sends it high once more. Joyle, a heavy touch on out. Juicy with a flip reset, pushing in towards it, but Tempo quick to make that save.
Yeah, they've noticed the high press, Moist, and they're adapting to go for longer shots. The power generated from some of these Hail Marys is pretty impressive. Joyo trying to steamroll through Billy. Billy says, absolutely not, I'm putting up the concrete barriers. and we're not going to allow you through. Right back down the other end. It would have been a nice wild defensive, but for Cash taking Chippy out the equation. Joyo with another challenge win. Juicy forced to go into the corner, didn't really have the best starting position. Another 100 steal, and slowly but surely they're going to whittle down these resources for Wild, who have to get a grip on the midfield.
Ball drops on down towards Joyo. Off the corner it will be sent. Belly into centre, looking for the bump, can't find it. Tempo to take it high. The game remains tied, and in the 5th game of our series, this next goal, so important, as essentially the next goal will be going to match point.
Love that from Billy. That's a massive challenge. Forces Moist all the way back to their own backboard. Juicy over the top of Tempo. He's looking for the handoff. Still dangerous. And that has fallen very unkindly for Wild. They would have loved to have seen it bounce away, get a bit of power generated. That's a miss. Tempo cleans up the mess, and Billy actually on his way makes the most of a bad situation. A full clearance away, just 10 seconds left now. Juicy to Cash, looking for the shot, maybe to Juicy again. Oh, Juicy shoots wide. Here's Joyo now through the corner. Overtime beckons, unless one of these teams can find a breakthrough. Looking more likely to be Moist. No, Chippy throws it away, still keeping it up in the air. Joyo still not choosing to spike it. They want to end this. They want to end this now, but will they have the boost or the resources to do it? Chippy goes in for the challenge. My breath's going to run out. Infield, Cash, and it's finally 2-2 OT.
Finally, the ball touches the ground. And to overtime we go for our 5th game of the series. Last time we were in overtime, of course, it was in that 3rd game where Moist get the 0-second goal to and win it in OT. Joyo was the one to score it, and he might be the one to do it again. So close, but not going to find the back. Away it will go. Tempo to Billy, off the ceiling and down in front of net. Easy save to be made, but here comes Chippy with a big miss. But Tempo to Billy, saved by Cash.
He had the phone book and he read it well. Got the number of Chippy and Billy on this occasion. But how many more opportunities will Moist be willing to afford Wild? It's Cash. And he's got Juicy forward with him as well. Billy miss. Oh, and a miss for Juicy as well. Millimeters away from putting this game to bed. And yes, we continue infield, and Joyo glances it across his own goal mouth.
It continues some more. Into centre on Tempo, will not find the back. Juicy, hit by Cash. He has Joyo to his side. He sees Joyo waiting, so patient in position, but the shot not good enough to get past Chippy just yet. It's Juicy, another chance for Cash. Billy on the line to make a save.
Look at the intelligence from Cash there. Okay, you don't get it on target, but I can bump out the keeper. I can set it up perfectly for my teammate. Chippy trying to do the same. Oh, and Cash had to be quick to react, otherwise Tempo was going to have a free shot at net on that occasion. Billy straight to Cash. Really not a great idea there, as Cash is ultimately forced to rotate back out. Chippy loses it. Tempo steps in. Is Chippy again, brings it to the midfield line, but the forward momentum is lacking. Cash to the backboard. It's a hard hit. Cash going to follow it up himself? No. It's well defended from Wild as we head to the 2-minute mark.
Cash just in time to make that save, but having to go back to the defensive side from Moist, it means that Wild have an opportunity to develop and make some plays happen here. Get aggressive, get these bumps and demos underway, because they have been working well so far. Caught out in the midfield now. Chippy, the shot not powerful enough. It could have been a great chance for a goal. It's a demo from Joyo. Juicy past one, but Billy holds down the 4, gets it out to the corner, and a pass into centre means that Juicy have to clean it up. It's Chippy to the side, but still to no avail, unless Billy can get his touch, but he will barely slip by.
It's not even going to hit the ball as Chippy who ends up registering that shot. Chippy bumped out the way. Tempo. He sees Billy on the far side. Billy mishandles it though. Really nice readjustment. Here's Cash going for the corner rather than the shot. Would have been the better opportunity to at least work that defense a little more. Chippy, trying to skill on Joyo. A bump, and it's Billy. 3-2. Wild onto match points.
Wild against all odds make it to match point. The bump from Chippy, although so light, is all that is needed to destroy Moist's defense. And Wild, one game away from making it to the grand finals.
Well, that was a real test. It is a test that Wild passed with flying colours. They went toe-to-toe with Moist, and they came out on top. It is a potential back-breaking game for Moist Esports after such a resurgence on the past couple of games. To lose it here in this fashion, more mistakes creeping into their general play. Wild. Very happy to prove all of us here wrong. Here I was saying, boy, surely the favourites to go on and win it despite a poor start. Well, Wild are only 1 5-minute period away now.
19 shots to 9, James.
Yeah.
Cash and Joyo combined got 13 saves, and it still wasn't enough. 7 saves for Cash, 6 for Joyo, and it still wasn't enough. Wild at match point is what no one here was expecting.
Count them, folks. It is now 3 games out of 5 where Wild has outshot Moist by more than double of their own shot output. That is extraordinary. I know that Moist aren't exactly the most defensive team, nor are they the most possessive team, but you wouldn't expect them to be conceding so many shots on their own net. Usually it's their unrelenting pressure that sees them not concede shots, but Wild throwing all expectations out the window and saying, look, we're just going to sit here and we're going to play our own game. If you're going to make a mistake, we're going to capitalize on that more often than not. We're going to create those high quality opportunities more often than not. And here on Neo Tokyo now, we have got the chance to put you into the dirt. We have got a grand final date. We don't want to miss it.
Wild, 1 game away from making the grand finals. But they still have to get 1 more game against Moist. And Moist will be feeling energized, will be feeling angry that they lost that one. But will that be enough to take down Wild, who are playing so incredibly well, so incredibly difficult to deal with? That is a struggle for Moist.
It's a struggle that they've got to manage as well as they can. The crucial thing in this opening minute is quite simply, don't concede. Give yourself that platform upon which to build. It doesn't have to be a pretty win as long as it is a win at the end of game number 6. You go to Champions Field, that is Moist Esports home territory if ever there has been a saying of that sort of ilk.
No, start might be short-lived because down the other end is Cash with a shot onto net, saved by Billy, but here comes Joyo once more. The shot travels wide, but the pass into centre. It's Juicy onto net, and Juicy to score.
Lift the veil, and what do you get? A goal of magnificence, not just a covering run, a bumping run from Joyo Kami. Juicy simply couldn't miss, and Moist, that might be the most important goal they score all series.
It might just be. What a clear from Juicy, but Chippy will catch it. He has tempo up.
Oh!
And Chippy, what an air! He ties up the game in just a moment's notice. So much faith, so much confidence and tempo to make that pass, and it pays off to perfection.
Aerial finesse. Are we watching Swan Lake or Rocket League? Beautiful, brilliant. And they're at it again. Tempo, it's a 1v1. And he's going to outwit Cash. Oh my goodness, the table's turned.
Cash goes the wrong way and the flip and Tempo gets a goal of kickoff. Only 10 seconds needed. And Wild are in the lead.
You know, there are times when this esport tries me, boyo. And there are times such as these where all of us are reminded exactly why we love it. You cannot get enough because there is never enough Rocket League. And Moist are quite eager to add to that story, to add to that narrative. Juicy gonna fall harmlessly wide, but no boost, no hope. Cash makes amends 2-2.
Cash has tied things up. But this game does not get any easier. It is a great bump from Juicy into Chippy, and a perfect finish there from Cash. Means that we have a game in our hands, James, and it is not going to end anytime soon. For even as 22 to go, either team can take this.
Cash to receive them from his own backboard. It's square one, got to start from somewhere. What do the blueprints look like? What does the execution look like? Well, probably best to throw that in the bin because it's straight back to the backboard. Look at Chippy, look at him lurking there on the backboard, ready to receive, ready to throw it to a teammate. Lovely synergy here between Juicy and Joyo, but it's only a throw downfield more than an impactful pass to a teammate waiting. Joyo is going to outwit Tempo here in the air, and both sides have very much come to a standstill here as they figure out their next moves.
Coming into this event, WYLDE, the 9th seed from the qualifiers, they didn't even make it through the upper side of the qualifier. They lost, they went through the lower bracket. Now they're here, one game away, one goal away at the moment from making it to the grand finals. What a run they've been on, and they might just get the goal they need now. A big save from Cash to get it out to the side, but Billy's not going to slow down, he's going to keep the attack alive. Joyo with an awkward spot on the back wall. Tempo will punish. It's up high for Chippy, but he cannot make it in time because Cash is way too quick.
These strong direct shots are something that WYLDE Esports are not dealing with well. They'd much rather have the fancy build-up play to deal with where they can intercept and counter-attack with pace. Instead, they're having to focus all efforts on basically one player being defensive and then looking for an exit strategy. They've managed to find a decent exit strategy, but unfortunately, giving up the ball to your opponents isn't it chief. Joyo not going to be out Chippy, and I've got to say in general, Boyo, these 50-50s from WYLDE have been fantastic all series long.
Here comes Tempo, off to the back wall. It'll be Juicy. The Cash. The follow-up touch not gonna be found. Great clearance from Billy, but not out of the woodwork just yet. The pass to Tempo was sublime, but the save even better. Keeps that one out just in time, and now down the other end, the shot from Juicy will narrowly be saved. But Joyo, Cash, working so well together, but the crossbar, the saviour for WYLDE.
The game is a little elastic, it's getting very stretched, and Tempo might have been overstretched, he has absolutely no boost, but he's been bailed out by Chippy, who did have boost. He's gonna go up Chippy again, and at least find a touch on it. Tempo, I still don't think has refilled here. It's Cash. He manages to commit Tempo. Oh! It's Chippy again. The guy is unreal.
The defense from WYLDE has been stretched incredibly thin, but it is still holding on. 40 seconds. At this stage, James, I'm going to say it, next goal wins it. And if it's WYLDE to score, it could just be the series. But it is Moist sending everything that they can to net, but WYLDE, they do not want to lose. They do not want Game 7. They want to end it here and are fighting hard to break away. It's Chippy the man to do so, but Juicy denies. Tempo sends a high, but it's Joyo now to deny once again. The pass down to Cash is not going to be found. Tempo in a 1v1, but shut down.
It's a bona fide Warzone artillery strikes from WYLDE Esports. Juicy looking for the bumper. Didn't see Mr. Uncle Billy from the left-hand side. And thus the save is made. The ball hits the ground. It's overtime. WYLDE could be heading into the grand finals should they score the golden goal.
Against all the odds, they make it to OT. So many shots peppered to their net. They'll be feeling salty if they lose it. But a big save from Cash will get that one out. Into centre now. Billy to Chippy. The net's open! And that's the game! And that, more importantly, James, that is the series. And WYLDE are going to the grand finals!
Unbelievable. You look at Joyo there, he gets caught up on the wall somehow, but he was never going to be relevant to that play. He was rotating back round for the 100 boost. Juicy commits to it. Where was Cash on that play? The most crucial mistake of the entire series at a time where they didn't need it. WYLDE Esports taken down by WYLDE. On the basis of that series, Boyo, they absolutely 100% deserve it. Potentially one of the best performances from that trio of players that we have ever seen. For WYLDE, they're just going to have to lick their wounds and go again. A very under par performance for at least half of the series. We saw glimmers of the quality that we know they're capable of, just not consistent enough.
Last time in the Rising Star Odyssey, WYLDE, dead last in around the 16, got beat 4-1 by Williams Resolve. This time around, they made it to the grand finals, and they're not out yet. They can still win this tournament. They're at least guaranteed second place. Got $3,000 in the bag already, 6,000 up for grabs if you get to first. But my, oh my, this team has had a miracle run.
Quite frankly, I couldn't agree more. Is there another miracle run to complete its journey in the grand final? However, that's the next question up on the docket as G1 goes up against a fan favorite, most certainly. It's Hogan mode. Stay put, folks. We'll be back after this.